Now we're coming to part 3 of how to write a marketing plan. Here in the B part, the actual walkthrough of the plan, which is part of marketing management class. I'm the lecturer Thorsten Strauss. My information is in the back. We are in the 7 parts of writing a plan, from introduction to analysis, strategy or strategic part, execution, financial and risk, plus the add-on appendix. And now we are in strategy, objectives, marketing strategy, segmentation, targeting, positioning, STP, the heart and core of strategy. That is quite a big chapter. It breaks down to objectives, marketing strategies, and segmentation, targeting, positioning. In terms of objectives, it is very important that your marketing plan is focusing on a very narrow objective. How to sell more is not an acceptable objective. It needs to be very specific, and in order to achieve that, I give you the very commonly used and I think excellent methodology of SMART goals, meaning SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. You should have a very focused and narrow understanding of what are you trying to achieve with this marketing plan. Is that the penetration of southern Spain for delicious, I don't know, ice cream from Norway in the retail category of medium to small retailers serving families? I mean, it has to be very narrow. So it's about what, who, when, and how. That all of these need to be fulfilled in a SMART goal. That is what you're trying to achieve, and that is what the following parts of the marketing plan then reflect upon and trying to answer. Now you looked into the analysis part of what is the world like. Now you look into the part of where should we go, where should we be as we arrive, and the next part after that is how do we actually get there. So usually you have a milestone, maybe only one, maybe you have 3, phase 1 to 3. This is a very nice graphic of how to use milestones if you do it in a presentation. Important is that the goals are measurable. You have to be able to measure and make it very quantifiable and concrete. Saying we want to be more liked by our customers, that for example is not a good goal. But saying we would like to increase customer satisfaction from 60 to 90%, that is a very good and measurable goal. Now you only want to do this if customer satisfaction has a direct driver to your business needs or to your main objectives. Usually a good main objective is market penetration, portfolio expansion, geographic expansion, new market, new product development, new product placement, reacting to a competitor, reacting to external changes. Those are really good goals and very narrow for the marketing plan. You might also have a long-term goal for the company or the marketing department that is not connected to the marketing plan. That's also okay. Then you might say we want to examine the market entry into the Netherlands, and the specific goal is we would like to be the number 1 company in every category and regional geographic that we operate in. They need to be really attainable. Being the top world leader for somebody who is not even close to it, that's not attainable. That's a vision, which is nice to have. A vision is the dream that comes true, but it's not a goal, because here we will measure against whatever it's stated in the goal. It has to be relevant, has to follow the mission and vision. If you are Red Bull and you want to generate the most exciting moments and energize your client base, a goal of winning the chess championships in the world might not be a goal that is within your mission and vision, although it's a great accomplishment. And there has to be a time date. There's to be always a deadline. Any SMART goal is very specific, it's measurable, and it always has a deadline. Those are the 3 core things. Attainable and relevant are also important, but S, M, and T are really the essence of a SMART goal. Coming to core strategy. And this is actually a lecture and a class in itself. I would like to introduce you to two theories that I hold valuable. We have on the right hand Porter's generic strategies. You are very familiar with the name, Mr. Porter. Michael Porter, a Harvard Business School professor, came up with the competitive strategies of either being a cost leader or being a differentiating leader or value leader. And you can do this in a very broad basis, or you can do this maybe if you cannot achieve it on broad level, you can do it in a niche market geographically or product segment that is achievable and sustainable, and therefore you can do a cost focused niche market or differentiation focused niche market. Trying to do anything of both, like cost and differentiation, gets you stuck in the middle and gets you killed basically. So that is really bad, and I explained to you with the second model a bit more in general. So that is very basic, but that is really still applicable. You cannot be both. You either have to be leading on differentiation through branding, product innovation, service, and so on, which is then exemplified in the second strategy here. And you can either use Porter or you can use Tracy and Wiersma, which is nothing other than taking Porter and fleshing it out a little bit, putting a little bit more explanation. So they came up with three strategies: customer intimacy being the most service-oriented, customer-oriented customization, really bringing customization and service to a new level beyond what everybody else can do. They're talking about operational excellence, which is low cost, lowest total cost, including time, effort, and money for the customer. And they're talking about product leadership. Now, product leadership and total cost, that is basically what Porter said, but they did bring something new with the customization orientation, and that is actually, I believe, very valid, because there are companies who are differentiating themselves on this dimension and therefore have sustainable competitive advantages. What's really key, because you need to be good in everything, and that's what these bars are about. You have to be low cost, you have to do a fantastic product, and you have to give good service. You cannot just be one. You have to do all three, but there comes a point in time, and that's called the threshold level to excellence, when, let's say, you want to be low cost. That means you have a very low cost base overall. You have a machine park that is very big and very set up for volume and very low cost production. You are geared with everything in your company towards low cost. There comes to be a trade-off. You cannot have a great brand name, invest a lot in innovation, and be low cost. So you have to choose, and that is what really this next slide is all about. Here is Porter again in large, and here is again Tracy Wiersma in large, so you can see it. But this is really the important one. You have to pick one strategy here. These are the three strategies, and then these are the descriptions how these strategies apply to your company and what is the trade-off. For example, we talked about low cost. Variety kills efficiency. That's the golden rule. And it really makes sense. I mean, let's say you produce something and you need to stop the machine to change a part in order to make it deeper or different color or give it a different look. I mean, let's take the iPhone again, for example. You produce in 4 colors, it's the same shape, so all they do is they put a different plastic resin in it and it produces a different plastic. That's not so difficult. But if you produce different sizes, that usually means a tool change, machine has to be stopped, maybe you have quick tools to exchange very fast, but the less variety you have, the more you can produce the same thing, the more inline production you can have, the better it is. But it goes much deeper than that, and it goes into the one-size-fits-all mindset, total conformance. You're very disciplined, you have very process focus, very elimination of all errors and inefficiencies. You are very centralized. You have high skills at the center and the core organization. Everybody gets paid as little as possible. You are looking into product delivery and basic service cycles. That's your core processes built on standard, no thrills, no fixed assets that are glorious big conference rooms, very nice architecture in a nice location. No, you're in a countryside where it's cheap, and it is, if you even have a front desk person, usually those companies don't, it's going to be very no thrills. The management system is command and control, meaning it's very cost reduction. There's not going to be much business travel. It's not going to be an exciting a company. It's very cost conscious, so it's very tight. Information technology is integrated. It's low cost transaction. It's mobile and remote technologies. Really focusing on driving out all costs. Now compare that to the product leadership. Here you talk about unique products. Here we talk about the right formula. We talk about out of the box thinking, attack, go for it, win, experimentation. Here about discipline, staying focused, staying in process, one size fits all. Here we need an organization that is ad hoc, that's organic, that's cellular, where not everything is tied down and controlled. We have to have input and stimulances and those things. And you see now through all these dimensions how these three strategies are different. And that's why important that you pick one, and by picking one you fully commit to it. That means you cannot fulfill the other ones. If you can fulfill all of them, I'm sorry, then you're still stuck in the middle. Then you have not passed the threshold of competitiveness, of excellency, then you're still in the safe zone. If you're really excelling in one of these, meaning you're fulfilling it totally, you cannot fulfill the other two. And that's the key essence to strategy, saying no. Because saying yes is easy, but saying no is really the key. Now, after the strategies, we're talking about a growth strategy. If you're entering new markets, this is for you. If you want to grow the business or looking for growth opportunities, there's basically the ends of developing growth strategies, either new products or new markets. So you have existing or new products or existing or new markets. You can either stay in the same market, same product, and increase your penetration. You can have new products and existing markets, that is product development. You can go totally new, which is the most difficult and the most high risk, meaning you're leaving your core competence of products and markets and going to diversification. And what many people do, they have the same products and they're trying to find a new market that could be penetrated, or maybe values the same product features and benefits, because it's cheaper to find a new market than usually to produce new products. So usually people go from here to here, and if they cannot find anything, they go over to product development. Here's a little bit of text that explains it some more. Market penetration, what does it involve? It involves sales to current customers without changing the products. And here are further explanations in terms of market development, product development, diversification, and downsizing, which is really reducing the business portfolio, eliminating products and business units that are not profitable and therefore no longer fit the overall strategy. That's also part of strategy. It's not only to grow, but downsizing is an opportunity and is a possibility to increase profit, total profit in euros. That is not mentioned in the graphic, but it is an option you should keep in mind. That brings us to the last point, and that is really segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And you can basically do a segmentation on geographic, demographic, psychographic, or behavioral segmentation methodologies, and we go into detail what that means. You can do a positioning, either price benefit, more for more. You can do more for the same, that is more value for same price. You can do more for less, and that's what everybody says, and it's the king and queen. You get more value for less price, but unless you do a technology change or shift, or you make a new factory, that's very difficult to do. Also very valuable is to do the same for less. Maybe people just appreciate a price cut, or you offer a less for much less type of value, maybe for an emerging market, having a lesser portfolio, a lesser features and benefits at a lower price point is a very attractive option. We're talking about perception maps versus product channels, services, images. Yeah, you can put these on the two axes and map them across each other. We can talk about targeting. We already talked about in the analysis part of external analysis what that means, market versus product orientation, and we talked about the attractiveness in the market, the ability to compete of a category. That is what it looks like for targeting. Here is now the positioning map again in greater detail. The two dimensions should be something that is correlated but not the same but opposite, meaning the more quality I have, the higher the price. There's a correlation, therefore it makes sense to use these things. You can also use them for things that are not correlated, but then you need to pick very carefully so it makes still business sense. In terms of approach to differentiation, we can be undifferentiated, we can be niche, market segment differentiated, we can be very concentrated niche market, or micro, and that's very local or of individual focus. And that is the end of the part. How to contact me? You can contact me on LinkedIn under Thorsten Strauss. I am part of OpenLink, so you can contact me for free. You can find me on Twitter to read some of my marketing feeds actually of Twitter. I post them there, as well as on LinkedIn. You can contact me at the University of Antwerpen, Thorsten.Strauss at uantwerpen.be, uantwerpen one word, or under Thorsten.Strauss at howtomkt for market, howtomkt.com. What is my background a little bit? Actually, my tagline is I have 3 worlds experience, meaning highlighting the unique background that I have worked as a marketeer in an industrial setting, including on executive level as part of management. I have worked as consultant or work as consultant still under projects, and I work as lecturer, so combining 3 different types of perspectives on marketing and the challenges of marketing, which is I think unique. Then I am German born, educated in the United States, and educated at Copenhagen Business School with an MBA. I worked and lived in the United States for 8 years. I worked and lived in Europe for 20 something years, 22 years. I worked and lived, not lived, but I worked in the Middle East for over a year very extensively, and I also have done some business and experience in Asia, exposure there with some of the studies at Tsinghua University, the Harvard of China, as well as, of course, production units and suppliers in Asia. I was a product manager in the start of my career, and then marketing manager and global marketing director. I led several projects, numerous projects actually. The 3 most relevant for this class would be a market penetration project, a geographic expansion project, and a global portfolio optimization project. So I'm quite familiar with project planning, and my expertise and core competence is actually strategic planning, strategic process management, and ownership.